So you have to get your clay prepared, and then you need to be able to roll out enough to use your template and cut out your rectangle for your mug. So therefore, you're going to need 2 guide rails. I would use the wider one. The thickness is the thickness we need for our mug, so that works. Going to need a squirt bottle. Going to need a metal rib with the edges, because we're going to have to score and combine our pieces. I don't think you're going to be able to get the amount of clay rolled out for this with just one whole piece. I think it'll just be too much work. And you're going to need a cutting tool and a rolling pin. All right, so I'm going to cut this in half. And you want your clay to be a little bit thicker than these guide rails so that it gives you material to flatten out and get to the size you want it to be. Just put that on the side. I would work at a lower table so that you can get your body weight over the clay. It'll be much easier than working at the high tables. So the whole point of using these guide rails is to get this to be a consistent thickness. So you don't want these so far apart that you don't realize that you're not on it. Otherwise you're going to have a slant to your clay. I usually go to the middle. I don't even really use the handles. The handles are kind of weak. I go right on top and start working out towards the ends. You may have to manhandle it a little bit. Keeping sure, just double checking, making sure you're still on there. I think I have enough to go kind of in the opposite direction so that I can, is that gonna work? Just about work. I just want to kind of widen that out. Just so I can get these a little bit closer. That just works. So I'm going to widen this out too. Don't be a wimp. This takes muscle. No complaining, no whining. This is just what you gotta do to get the job done. And then once you get it fairly flattened out, you can usually go back to using those handles. And it does. I mean, you gotta go back and forth, and it's gonna create like a wave of clay that you've gotta work out. I'm going to go back to the vertical position. I think we have enough width for it. So I'm going to stretch it out vertically. That works a little bit better. That looks pretty good. It almost fits, but see, you can see we don't have enough. So that's why we need to have extra clay. You don't want to only develop this amount, only to be stuck needing more. That's why you want to prepare some extra. I'm just going to move this over here for now. I'm going to just do that process again. Maybe this time I will widen it, make sure it's the width that I want. That's working pretty good. I'm sweating. I'm building up some sweat. That's pretty good. So now I'm going to go back, get some length to it. You may need to go back and forth. Keep comparing it against your template. I usually like to whip back and forth with no kind of like nothing impeding my roller from rolling smoothly. That way I know it's smooth. Now you're going to need to join those. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this down. So I have some room to grow. And we're gonna score and add a little water in between. You don't necessarily need slip this time, usually when we do the score and slip method, but I do wanna add some grooves to both pieces of clay that I'm gonna join. It's gonna go with my extra back into the bin. That's pretty good. Just to make that seal really well. And I'll work that in so it wants to join up. What I'll do is I'll cut a little of this off. You can obviously use a fettling knife if you like. Oh wait, I did the wrong end. Take this off. I have plenty of clay. Just make sure you have plenty of clay before you start cutting too crazy. That's a little bit better. Kind of pat that down. Help that lock in. Push it to the side and then go back to using your guide rails. Go back from that seam working to the outer edges. I would work this a little bit. Now if it gums up on you, take the extra off, otherwise it'll just kind of keep mucking up your system here. You can also, if you want to save some time, go grab a dryer rolling pin. I'm going to just kind of keep working with this, see if it works. Otherwise I may have to get another dryer rolling pin. This I think is working good now. Double checking my guide rails. To cut this out. Now I would put this whole thing on a tray and inside a plastic bag, pack down the plastic so the extra air gets sent out. Make sure no air is going to sneak in overnight, but I think I would let this set up just a little bit overnight so it's not all wibbly wobbly on you. It'll work better tomorrow. Don't leave this on there overnight. It'll stiffen up enough to hold its form so it doesn't want to flop over when you're creating your wall around your base. All right, and that is how. Now you're going to need to roll out another piece of clay so that you can use the tuna can, almost like a cookie cutter, to press in and create the very bottom that this is going to wrap around. So you may need a little extra clay just to work that out. Let me see. Actually, if you check this out, that's going to work. Hold on just a second. This is the can for the bottom. There's enough to be able to create the base and your rectangle for the wall of your mug. You'll be good to go. I think we're good. Cut.